Well, here it is, the final leg of our responsive web design journey. We've come a long, long way. This really is sort of, I don't want to say, it's the moment of truth, but here we are. This is sort of the final stretch where we want to go and insert the graphics into our responsive layout here. So the graphics that we're going to be inserting, this should be fairly straightforward. The graphics that we're after are going to be the logo, the slideshow, and then, of course, the 3 graphic headers for our 3 content boxes, okay? For all 3 devices, by the way. So what we'll do here is we'll get the graphics set up for the high-resolution layout, and then we'll work on tweaking those graphics, adjusting those graphics for the medium resolution and also the low resolution, okay? So I hope that sounds good to you. So what we're going to be doing here, this is going to be pretty cool. We're going to see a mixture of Photoshop and HTML and CSS. So our 3 primary tools are all going to be used practically simultaneously. So as a matter of fact, I'm going to start things off over inside Photoshop where I've gone and opened up the high resolution layout. Okay, so if you could go ahead and fire up Photoshop on your side and open up your high resolution layout, that'd be great if you want to follow along here. And what I want to do is I want to isolate the logo. I want to extract the logo. Let me zoom in on this guy for us from our layout and get them into, of course, our high resolution media query. That's really what we're after here. So there's a bunch of different ways that we can go about extracting content from Photoshop. For instance, we could slice apart our Photoshop layout. I don't know if you've ever done that before in the past or not. That's one option. Here's my preferred method, which I think is much, much simpler and also yields easier results, or results that are much easier to work with. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and find the logo inside the layers panel. Okay, so he's inside the header area layer group, or the header layer group for myself. There he is. Now what I want to do is I want to disable the visibility of all of the layers inside my layout except for the logo. So to pull that off, I'm going to hold down Option here on the Mac or Alt on the Windows side and click the little eyeball icon there, the visibility indicator, and that will disable all of the layers except for the current layer. Perfect. That's exactly what I want. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my rectangular marquee tool from the toolbox, and I'm simply going to click and drag out a selection all the way around my logo. You don't even have to be very careful. You just want to make sure that you're encompassing the entire logo. Okay, something like this. Good stuff. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to head to the File menu, and rather than choosing Copy, I'm going to choose Copy Merged. Okay, what that means is it's going to grab all of the content that resides inside the selection from all of the layers. Okay, so go ahead and choose Copy Merged. All right, there it is. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose File New. I'm going to create a brand new blank document here inside Photoshop. Photoshop already knows the dimensions of the logo, which is great. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. There we are. And then I'll paste Control or Command V, and there's our extracted logo. Perfect. Awesome stuff. Now next, what we want to do is we want to save this guy into a web-friendly file format. This isn't a workshop on, using proper file formats and image compression and all that great stuff. But the short and sweet is we have 3 file formats to choose from. We could go with JPEG, GIF, or PNG. I think I will go with PNG myself because I want to have a nice, crisp, high-quality looking logo, but I also want to retain the transparency. As we can see there, the checkerboard pattern behind the logo, I want to maintain that once I get the logo into my layout. So I'm going to go with PNG. So here's what I'm going to do. And again, there's lots of different ways to do this, but I'm going to go File, and then all the way down to Save for Web. Okay? And we get the massive Save for Web dialog box coming up. And over on the right-hand side, I'm going to change my file format. Specifically, I'm going to go with PNG24. Okay? Now, you're welcome to fiddle around with some of the settings that we have available. I'm going to accept all of the defaults here. And then way down at the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and click on Save. Now, I'm going to go and save this into my work files folder on my desktop. And very simply, I'm just going to call it logo.png. Okay, you can call it site logo or, houseofhorrors.png, whatever you want. I'm just going to keep it simple here and simply call it logo.png. Go ahead and save that up. Okay, great. There we are. So we have the logo extracted from the Photoshop layout. Now what we need to do is we need to go and drop the logo into the HTML file and then get them under control with some CSS inside our high-resolution media query. So that is coming up next.